Hello, listeners. For our third in the series on quality control, let's talk about using a third party inspection company. If you're using a third party inspection company to do inspections, what type of person are you getting? Like who's on the other end of this, right? What are they looking for? What are they thinking? How well have they been trained? And the sad truth is a lot of times they haven't been all that well trained. Um, of the, let's say, $350 that you're paying for an inspector, many times all they get is $50 a day. They may not know a lot about your particular product. They may not have had a lot of time to go through the documents on your product. It really depends on the company, and this is why it's important for you to ask them a lot of these questions, because you want to make sure what pre-inspection training or familiarization with your product is this quality inspector getting before they go into the factory to inspect the goods. Number one, that's important. Number two, what you communicate to them in writing is what's going to be handed to this person. And this is what they're going to use as part of their own company's inspection package with where they write the results of the inspection. So what are you telling them? Is it clear enough? Are you being very specific about the measurements? What is too big and too small? What kind of finish are you looking for? What about the packaging? You want to be as specific as possible so that this inspector, who isn't going to have a chance to talk to you in advance, right? They're just randomly chosen that day and they're sent out to do an inspection on your product. You want to make sure that they have everything they need in this document so that they know exactly what they're inspecting. They are not going to inspect what is not on the list. So if they're in the factory and there's evidence that there was a fire there a month ago, they're not likely to make a note of that. They're not going to write it down. They're not going to tell anyone because they're not trained to look for that kind of thing. When you're looking at the overall supplier, a QC inspection service is really not a good solution to that. You need a different type of a person advisor. You need someone that is going to go in and meet with the supplier, meet with management, check their quality systems, look around the facility and say, okay, wow, there's a lot of old inventory sitting there. Is the business healthy? Those kind of things. So just remember too that a QC inspector, it cannot be expected to look at the supplier, the business at whole. They're really only looking at what's on their inspection form, typically provided by their company, and then what other additional information you have given that they should take with them to reference during the inspection. Those are the important things you want to think about. So ask the third-party QC company a lot of these types of questions, get familiar with their process, and make sure you're communicating clearly.